right. Good evening to everyone out there in virtual land. Welcome to our live stream this afternoon, Disruption, brought to you by the great team there at Pandemonium Projects. I am your moderator for this evening, Sandra Bingham. Welcome. All right, so today we'll be navigating the topic, the entrepreneurial mindset, with our guest, Lorian Ainsworth, CEO of the Richard Branson's Center of Entrepreneurship. If you're like me, you are eager to get to the meat of the matter. But just before that, I am going to actually invite the director of Pandemonium Projects, Mr. Julian Francis, to reintroduce Pandemonium Projects to us. So, Julian, over to you.
All right, thanks, Sandra, and welcome to everyone here on the stream. Mike picking up well, right?
Perfect. Hearing it clearly.
All right, lovely, lovely. So I know you guys probably haven't seen me in a while. We've done about 4 or 5 of these series for disruption, and it has been great. I just want to, reintroduce the company just to let you guys know what we do and how we do it. All right, so I'll just bring up my screen. All right, great. So today, we're presenting on the entrepreneurial mindset, and this whole venture pandemonium projects is one of those entrepreneurial thoughts that we crystallized and put into action, myself and Marcel. So I'll just go on and continue. So basically, why we're here is to formally educate our clients and the wider public, of course, with the constructs of project management and organization. We all know, there are a lot of projects out there in disarray. We want to bring structure to that and peace of mind. We also want to develop suitable strategies geared towards the client's organizational growth and development. So what we do feeds directly into your strategic objectives of making profit, brand equity, whatever it is that your project, the aim of your project is. Right. We also implement innovative and stable solutions in order to maximize profitability. And when we say implement innovative and stable solutions, we're talking about technology. It's there at our fingertips. It's easy to use. I know a lot of companies out there that don't, fully incorporate tech into their businesses. We want to change that, not just for large companies, but especially the small and medium enterprises out there, right? So those would be a set of our target market. Services we offer project management, of course, and maintenance. And we do it in a lot of different sectors: construction, IT, business process improvement, BPOs, aviation, sports, marketing, and events. You name it, as long as it's a project, we can do it. Right. We also do business plan development. I have a strong business background. Myself and myself, we do bespoke system development, so we can tailor systems to whatever it is you require. We do graphic design and social media management. We do network infrastructure build out, and especially websites, developing websites. That's one of our core competencies as well. But remember, the backbone of that is really projects. So all of these you see here, these services I offer, they really fall under the category of projects. Team, you have Marcel, which is really the head, right? He's a CEO, a certified project manager. He's also a very good friend. I mean, for way more than a decade. Um, he founded Harmonium Projects, came up with the name, came up with the vision, and I joined on the team about last year as a director to help action those strategies and put this plan into a streamlined plan into a practical, viable business. So that's it. I have Jordan as well. The core competence of web dev. We spoke about web development. That falls under Jordan as a key member of the team there as well, right? You can check, I don't have to go into details about who we are. You can find us on LinkedIn, right? Information is all out there. You can contact us, social media, LinkedIn. You can get us via website, via email, projectsbypandemonium@gmail.com. We also have a website, you know, it's currently under development. It's not the full way there, but you can check us. It's projectsbypandemonium.com, similar to the name in the email. Right, so that is my presentation. I'm just reintroducing. I know you guys know us already, but I just thought I might need to spread the word again. Now hand it back over to the lovely Sandra so we can get into the meat of the matter, as she says.
All
Sandra,
right,
back to you.
thanks. Thanks for that, Julian. And I
No
don't know
problem.
how you could have left off your very savvy tagline, pandemonium
Ah,
projects turning chaos into
yeah.
structure, right?
I plugged it in when I was saying the services, but I didn't make it obvious it was a tagline. But
All
yes, that
right.
is our tagline.
Right. So,
Thank you
guys,
so
as he said, pandemonium projects, the core and the backbone of their business is really project management. So they are
much.
your project management go-to guys. They turn your chaos into structure. So please, ensure that you check them out. And I mean, I don't know what would be a more fitting theme for us to discuss today,
Yep.
when we're talking about the entrepreneurial mindship on entrepreneurship, when we have a small business here,
Yes.
in pandemonium projects, which is very fitting. So definitely, we're gonna move over to our main item for today. Before we engage the lovely lady, please do allow me to introduce her, our guest speaker, sorry, our guest speaker, for the evening. That's Lorianne Ainsworth. And as I said before, she is the CEO of the Richard Branson's Center of Entrepreneurship. Lorian is a speaker, she's a trainer and a coach on a mission to empower busy professionals to rise above chaos, struggle less, thrive more, and be a force for good in this world. She communicates and educates on topics such as gaining greater self awareness, uncovering and maximizing your strengths, doing work that matters, and making wellness a priority. She believes that a thriving, successful business begins with happy, healthy, productive people. And in addition to being the CEO of the Richard Branson's Center of Entrepreneurship in the Caribbean, she is also a certified holistic wellness coach. Lorianne, welcome and thank you for joining us this evening.
Are you hearing me? Hi, there I am.
Ah, there you are. There you are.
Okay. Hi, Sandra. Thank you for that warm welcome. Thank you, Julian and Marcel, for inviting me to come on and talk to your people today. Very happy to
Awesome.
be here.
And definitely very happy to have you to speak to us today about the entrepreneurial mindset. Sorry,
Yeah.
before we actually focus on our theme for the evening though, Lorian, I want for you to tell us a little bit about your role at the Richard Branson Center of Entrepreneurship and how that particular entity supports and nurture entrepreneurship.
Yeah, thanks, Sandra. So the Branson Center has been around in the Caribbean for 10 years. We celebrated our celebrating our 10th year anniversary in 2021 or 2021, right? And so we've been around for 10 years. And Sir Richard Branson actually started the center in Montego Bay. And the center was supporting small businesses in the startup phase, the businesses that were in kind of idea stage, a little bit in the revenue stage, and supporting them to grow their businesses. We were very interested in supporting entrepreneurship at that time. We were trying to tackle the problem of um, low GDP growth and high unemployment. And so through the Branson Center, through entrepreneurship, we were able to support that. Businesses were able to support three existing jobs, grow and create four new jobs, as well as grow their business 132% revenue. So we've been making an impact in that space. We moved in 2017 to Kingston because 70% of our entrepreneurs were in Kingston. Our investors, everybody was here in Kingston. So we're now in Kingston. And we also made a shift. we saw that there were a lot of business enablers, lots of people who were supporting the entrepreneurs at that stage. And we wanted to now shift our focus to the scale up entrepreneur, the entrepreneur who's been in business for a while, who has a proven track record, and who needed resources and support to scale the business. So we continue on that track. Of course, the pandemic hit. Businesses aren't scaling, right? So we have now a hybrid approach where we are supporting businesses still in the acceleration phase and in the growth phase through our accelerator program, where we offer training to increase your business acumen. We offer mentorship and coaching from some amazing coaches and mentors that we have been able to attract globally. So they're supporting their business. And then, of course, we have access to finance because everybody wants to know, how do I take my business to the next level with some
Mhm.
capital, with some funding? So that three-pronged approach. And Branson Center is now doing consulting. So we are now supporting other business enablers, other projects that want to bring that business structure, that want to bring that entrepreneurial mindset, that entrepreneurial way of doing things, the Branson Center way of doing things to their projects. And so we're now venturing out ourselves and doing consulting. I know you asked me about my role, so I don't know if you want to go into that.
Yes, please do.
All right, so we've been doing a lot, right? So I am the CEO, so I have oversight for the Branson Center and an amazing team that does amazing work and supports amazing entrepreneurs. So I have the pleasure of being the at the helm of that, but I only get things done because I have truly talented, amazing people. So they're the ones who are doing all the real work. And I get to come on shows like this and talk to you about the great work that we're doing.
Thank you for that. And it's interesting because I actually checked out your website earlier and I actually saw some of your amazing beneficiaries. And it was surprising to me because, these are a lot of persons that you would see out there having these very prominent and viable businesses. So for you to think that, they probably would have started from such humble beginnings. I know I saw Brescia, I saw Miss Tees, I
Yeah.
saw Lauren Peart from Blue Dot. I saw, Patria K from Sweetie. Definitely so many of them. So, and I know a question that a lot of persons would have is, if I wanted to benefit from some of the service. So you gave us basically a list of some of the services that your company offers, for budding and aspiring entrepreneurs. How would one be able to access or benefit from some of these services?
Yeah, so I mean, if you are an entrepreneur and you want to get into the Branson Center as an official Branson Center entrepreneur, you can apply. We actually have rolling applications. We are about to wrap up our first cohort of 2022, and we're actually reviewing applications right now. So if you haven't already done so, the clock is ticking. You need to go put in your application right now at bransoncenter.co, and you could potentially be in our cohort. It is competitive. It is something that we pride ourselves on, not the competitiveness, but it's more because we are actually getting entrepreneurs who are really invested in their business. They know that it's a commitment, it is a scholarship, so you're not paying for the service. And so, because of that, we really want to get committed, talented entrepreneurs with great business ideas, with great businesses that are doing well, because for our acceleration program, you need to already be in business. Um, but we are really looking for the entrepreneur that's prepared to stick through with us for the next 3 months. Typically, we get 300 applications, and we are only choosing up to 20
Oh,
entrepreneurs.
wow.
Our cohort is 15 to 20. So I say that to say, get your applications in if you want to get a chance to come to the Branson Center.
All right. Thanks for that, Lorian. So I hope those of you who are actually tuned in, if this information is of value to you, which it should be, definitely go on their website. The information is there. Please do go ahead and sign up. You never know. You might be amongst one of the lucky few who are selected. All right. So, Lorian, our theme today is the entrepreneurial mindset, right? And if I were to look at the theme from this very superficial level, one would think that perhaps there is like this kind of secret formula to being an entrepreneur, or that you have to be like, this business whiz or business expert. But you look at it from a different perspective. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So I've been in the entrepreneurship space for a while now. I'm an entrepreneur myself. That's, how I started. I jumped out of corporate, started my own business. I understand the mindset that an entrepreneur needs. I understand the hurdles and the stresses. And not only my own experience, but all of the entrepreneurs that I've been able to support and I've come across experience very similar things. And many people think we look for a gap in the market, look for an idea that has potential for a lot of money, and then they understand what entrepreneurship is. And it's not, I'm sitting down on a beach with a laptop drinking Mai Tais. It's not that. It's a high stress. It is, it can be lonely. It is not the same thing, not the certainty of getting a paycheck every day. And especially when you start, I mean, every month, and especially when you start growing a team and you start realizing that I actually need to grow this business, I need to actually retain this talent, and I can't pay myself. So the stress compounds, right?
Mhm.
Um, all that to say that I think it's more than being innovative. I think innovation is amazing and it's needed, but there's also a need for entrepreneurs to step back and start with them first. I think it starts within, and that's my perspective on the entrepreneurial mindset. That it's an inside job. It definitely is. Of course, we're talking about mindset, but the mindset isn't about what's happening out there and what the opportunity is. It's more, what can I offer? And I have there are three pillars that I stand on for the mindset, the entrepreneurial mindset. And the first one is love yourself. You have to love yourself first. And in loving yourself, the reason I say that is because when you love yourself, you make wellness a priority. It means that you are looking after yourself, mind, body, soul. When you do that, you have resilience. When you are resilient, you can manage the chaos of the entrepreneurial journey. You're prepared for that and you have a clear mind. I like to say we need to go from chaos to clarity. There is no action without clarity because the confused mind says no, right? And when you don't take care of yourself, when you don't love yourself, then that's what occurs. So my first one is love yourself. My second one is know yourself. Now, so many entrepreneurs go in there, start a business, head cook and bottle washer, and we pride ourselves on burning the candle at two ends. I was one of those people. And I thought, I can do this better than they can do it, right? Because this is my vision. And what I didn't realize is that I was actually doing a disservice to myself, to the business, to my team. Because when you know yourself, you know what your zone of genius is. You know what value you can offer. You know what keeps you in flow, what keeps you motivated, right? And there are three things that have been proven to motivate people. And this is coming from many studies, lots, so much in psychology. But if you read the book Drive by Daniel Pink, he speaks about three factors of motivation that he found from his research. And the three factors were one, autonomy. People want to have autonomy over the work they do. You can only have autonomy over the work you do and the tasks you do if you know what you're good at. You know what environment is right for you in particular, right? So that's one. Two, he speaks about um, purpose. And I call purpose significance. What matters to you? What is
Mhm.
significant to you? Why are you doing this business? If the business is only for money, it's not going to sustain you. You're not going to have the ability to keep going. And the third thing is your strengths. What are your strengths? People want self mastery. So if you are not doing work that allows you to become great at what you do, you're going to have a challenge. So the third thing I'll say quickly, because I know I don't have a lot of time, is create value. A lot of people think that creating a value is actually creating a business now. When you love yourself, you can rise above chaos. You have resilience. When you know yourself, you know what value you can bring, you know what matters to you, you know what environment is right for you. And you can identify that in team members who need to complement you. And then you can now take that and go and create value for yourself and for others. So it's not just about creating value for others, creating a business, being altruistic. That's great. It's also creating value for yourself. And it's not the other way, vice versa, right? And so when you can do that, that is a mindset that I talk about and that I like to promote, because those are the entrepreneurs who I find are doing the best, the ones who are the most successful. And that's my take on it.
Yeah, and I think you've said so many things. I would love to just unpack some of them because I think they're like really important. You spoke about, the fact that entrepreneurship starts with you.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you say that because, as you said, a lot of what we read, a lot of the data that you see a lot of that aligning and resonating. Where they tell you that a lot of the top successful persons in the world, they start from building resilience within themselves, right? Cultivating discipline, taking care of their body physically, because that is also important too, and really building a good team. And you spoke about that earlier, that a lot of the work that you do, a lot of the success that you have and that the center has is because of the team. And I think it is important for us to realize that that when you are an entrepreneur, and you bring persons on your team or you hire persons, you have to give them the autonomy, as you said, to do the job that you have hired them to do, because that is why you've hired them in the first place, right? And then you also touched on the misconception that a lot of people have, and I think that is why you tend to have a lot of people who will go into business, and their business may fail, or the expectations may not be what they would have wanted. Because a lot of persons, when you think entrepreneurship, or you're thinking, as you said, I'm working for myself, I can work on the beach, I can get up when I want, I can sorry, do what I want when I want. But you're saying the reality of it is not that romantic, and it is so far from that, right?
Well, I hope it can be for people. And I mean, I think when you do have those three pillars, it can become that. It can feel easy, it can feel effortless. But again, without those pillars of having that self love, taking care of yourself, mind, body, soul, without knowing yourself truly and having a team to support you, I like to say that in order to get things done, we need to have systems, support, and self care, right? So if you don't have systems in place, if you don't have the support in place, and you're not taking care of yourself, then it's going to be hard to move forward. And absolutely, it could become very easy. And people often have to go through the experience of this felt hard in order to understand what not to do. And those are lessons. And that's something that, for a long time now, we talk about in entrepreneurship: fail fast, learn the lessons. And these are one of the things I think many entrepreneurs have had to go through and then reach to the point where it feels easy. I'm sharing my message with more entrepreneurs because I have a platform right now as a CEO of the Branson Center to share my learnings, to share the research that I've done, to share my experience and the experience of other entrepreneurs I've worked with, so that someone else doesn't have to make that same mistake. We always should be learning from each other, right? So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
And yeah, you spoke about failure, but I think that's kind of hard. And here's why I say that. A lot of people, when you think about what is deemed valuable in society, we are taught that failure is not necessarily a good thing. Nobody really celebrates failure. And earlier when you were talking about that book Drive by Daniel Pink, and you were talking about those three things, you spoke about drive, purpose, strengths. And in order to kind of recognize what are your strengths, you have to also know what are your weaknesses, right? And when you start to focus on your weaknesses, think about, okay, vulnerabilities. But as I said, it's not easy for some persons. So, for entrepreneurs, how do you get over that fear of failing, and the fact that, okay, if something in my business fails, that it's a good thing. Like, how do you shift person's mind to accept that as a good thing?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question because that's one of the first things that I do in my own coaching with clients. It's around mindset work. And that mindset work, all of that, first of all, it's a culture that we have around fear of failure. And fear is rooted in what we call the saboteur mindset. That mindset that's keeping us in that perpetual cycle of something bad is going to happen, or people pleasing, or being a hyperachiever. All of that is rooted in fear, and that's that part of the survival brain. When
Yeah.
you do mindset work, true mindset work is not about affirmations alone. It's about, how do I get command of my mind? How do I start to have command of my mind, that when I recognize, first of all, recognizing what my saboteurs are, what comes up for me, because it's going to be different for every person. You know, am I somebody who worries that something could happen and the next minute something bad is going to happen because I'm hyper vigilant? Or am I the person who's trying to please everybody, and so I'm not actually delegating well to my team, and then I'm getting resentful about it, right? First, it's recognizing that. How am I sabotaging myself? That's one. Two, how do I shift that thought into a positive place where I can now use my brain to see that this challenge is a gift and an opportunity? And the way that we see challenges as a gift and opportunity is being able to look at it and say, is this something that I can learn from? Is this some knowledge that I can gain? There are different ways that we can now turn that challenge into a gift and opportunity. And we do that through being curious. We do that by saying, what happened here? Why did we fail? When you're sitting down in your room with the team and said, this didn't work, what happened? Instead of blaming, what could we learn here? And then using creativity. How could we do this better? How can we shift things? Using empathy, being empathetic and saying, you know what, we're not blaming, or not blaming yourself, not blaming your team, not blaming others, not blaming the situation, but using all of those empathy, curiosity, creativity to now move that issue and that challenge into a gift and an opportunity. And that's a mindset that entrepreneurs need. Everyone, not just an entrepreneur, we all need, in order to be resilient and to see these challenges as gifts and opportunities.
Yeah. Thanks for that. And I'm glad you touched on some of that, because it brings me to my next point. You spoke about curiosity, right? And shifting our mindset to be more creative. I think one of the things we can acknowledge, that is kind of lacking in our society and even within education, is that we don't necessarily encourage those attributes. We don't always encourage our kids, or even young people around us, to be curious. We don't necessarily encourage them to be creative and come up with innovative solutions. It's more about following procedures, following the system or the process that has been set up. you know what do you think that we can do, especially even in schools, and especially for those of us who may mentor other young people around us, to kind of shift this mindset and encourage some more of that you mentioned, that curiosity, that creativity.
Yeah, and I'm a parent myself, and that's something that I also am concerned with in our school system, and just as a parent, and just supporting youth. Well, first, again, it starts with you. You have to be in a place where you are able to see the challenges and treat the child, treat the situations with empathy. So that's a first step. We need to have more of our educators, more of the people who are interacting with our children on an everyday basis, for themselves to have mental fitness so that they can be in a place to support them, and then supporting them with that. So for children, and what I do with my kids, I try to have them understand who they are. They're going to know who they are as they grow, because you know, they come into this world so different, and they know who they are, but it's actually allowing them and giving them space to figure things out for themselves, and also giving them the ability to understand what they like and what they don't like. So that's helping them, kind of craft that idea of self-awareness. What's going on with you? What do you like? Why do you like that? What are the things that excite you? So starting from that place of nurturing that kind of conversation. And then, something that you said before, which is we have to know our weaknesses before we know our strengths. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, because I think that that is something that perpetuates this idea of fear of failure. Because in our schools, and something that I grew up with as, a child, whether it was in school or society, is, and in work, you have to strengthen your weaknesses. We don't. We need to strengthen our strengths. And so we don't pay enough attention to the strengths. We pay too much attention to the weaknesses. If you're not good at that, if it's not in your zone of genius, if it's in your zone of incompetence or competence, then leave it alone. What's in your zone of genius? What can we strengthen? If you're great at math, how can we do more with you? But what we do is we see, oh, you're good at that. All right, let's leave it alone. All right, let's work on this part because you're really bad
Yeah.
at this. It's the same thing in the workplace. How many people have been in an assessment are like, okay, well, you need to work on this. And you're focusing on that negative instead of, you're great at this. How can we make you get even greater, even better at this? And I use that as a general example, but I think we need to do more of that. So again, we need to educate more people on mental fitness and support them. Adults, people who are interacting with children and team members, we need to educate our leaders on that, and then we trickle that down.
Yeah. You gave me goosebumps when you spoke about that, because I think that has been, the programming from a lot of us from, I won't show up your age, but so I'll say from my generation.
Hey, I'm fine with it. I'm 40 and I'm fabulous.
All right, so we are skating on the same road then, right? But yeah, a lot of us, our generation, we were taught very differently. As you said, you focus on your weaknesses, and repetitively, that's kind of what's drilled in your head in terms of what are the things that you need to zone into. And I like what you said, that you need to focus on building your strengths. That if you're not good at something, that's okay. There are things that you are good at, so let us see how we can upskill and enhance that. And I really do like that. And that brought a thought to my mind in terms of just how different things are now with this particular generation from generations before. And I'm thinking that through your coaching, you may see some of that through the work that you do, in that entrepreneurs today that you coach and mentor, how different their mindset must have been from previous entrepreneurs. Because you spoke about the fact that the company has been around for 10 years, I believe you said.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I'm thinking, we do have a lot of newer entrepreneurs, and you mentioned that you're closing out a recent cohort to start another one. So it would be interesting to know, like, what are the differences? And I'm thinking that if there are differences, there must be challenges too that you might have to overcome in kind of dealing with these different groups of entrepreneurial mindsets.
Well, here's the truth. The mindset is not very different, and the needs are very much the same. Even when you think about the entrepreneur who is in that kind of startup ideation phase versus an entrepreneur who has been able to scale their business, and you see them and you're like, wow, they're doing great things. The truth is that failure, when we speak about doing a business that matters to you, you can have a horrible mindset, you can be not looking after yourself, you can have all of those things and still have a successful business inside. And for other reasons, things may be failing, relationships, family, all kind of different ways. So failure isn't necessarily just of the business. That is why people are burning out too. Those people who are burning out are experiencing the same thing. So it's not that there's a mindset shift for all entrepreneurs who have been able to create successful businesses. That is, people will have successful businesses regardless. People will fail regardless. It's how you deal with it, right? So there hasn't been a huge shift. This is something that I think we need more of at all levels. We need more mindset work in big conglomerates at the top. They're also having these issues. And so this isn't just a mindset for somebody who's starting out. This is a mindset for all of us. All of us who are in business now, we have culture, maybe in the Caribbean. I don't know if it's resides with us, and I know it doesn't, but we do need to work on our culture. We need to work on promoting more mindset fitness, mental fitness,
Mhm.
and we need to make that shift. And we need to make that shift now. And I think you guys are doing your part. You're bringing awareness to this now. You know, a business that's talking about projects and technology, but bring the mindset into it. These are the conversations that we need to have more of, so that people can have an awareness, so that they can take action. Because again, I like to say, clarity is a heart of action. When we start getting clear on these things, we can start taking action on them and we can start making a change.
Right. And moving from that, because you spoke about mindset, COVID-19, you mentioned that, and you mentioned how that affected some of the work that you were doing. But interestingly enough, in the world of entrepreneurship, this big disruptor that came and disrupted so many sectors, so many plans, we also saw where there was a boom in businesses. This is where we saw a lot of the out of the box thinkers, right? I remember even just the other day I was reading an article in Forbes, and it was talking about how you have so much more persons who were billionaires last year than in previous years before. So it would be interesting to know, here came COVID-19. At the same time, a lot of the work that you were doing, had to be put on pause, but at the same time you had like this boom of businesses as it related to COVID-19. So it would be interesting to know, what are your thoughts on this entrepreneurial, sorry, explosion that happened during COVID?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many, explanations for that. One, again, COVID was a challenge that many people were able to not rise above, but move forward in spite of. And it does require that kind of mental fitness to be able to look and see, what's the opportunity here that I can tap into. And people had to tap into opportunities for different reasons, whether it was because they're in their Jedi mindset, they're there and they're able to rise above that, or they were being motivated by fear, which is, I lost my job, or the business is no longer doing well, which happened to many entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And you go into survival mode. And in survival mode, you can create. It doesn't mean that you should stay there. And that's the thing with being in having a mindset that is serving you. Pain is a good thing because pain alerts us to something, but only for a short period of time. Sustained pain is going to lead to the stress and lead to the burnout. So while we had some people were jolted into this survival mode and it served them to be innovative and creative and create something new, and we had this boom, it's now, okay, that served me there. How can I shift back into this mindset that's going to serve me and not keep me in that space? So, of course we're going to see that boom. Of course we expected to see that. So many of our entrepreneurs, pivoted. Everybody was talking about the word pivot. So many pivoted for different reasons. One, some of them were realized, I actually didn't like what I was doing, and I need to actually start doing more of what I actually like to do. And hobbies became businesses, right? People did see opportunities and they were able to shift. So, there were people there, as I said, there are many reasons for this. And some did well, or some continue to do well, and others are still on their journey. And so, again, some people found the opportunity, the gift in it. COVID obviously is not a gift, but people, many, many, many people have shifted positively because of it in different ways.
And that's how the mental fitness is key, right?
Right.
Right. So as we wrap up, you spoke about the fact that you are accepting applications now
Yeah.
for an upcoming cohort. So I mean, obviously there is something that you are looking for. Obviously there is something that the Branson Center is looking for. You mentioned that, on average you will have 300 applications or more, and you are shortlisting that to 20. So I mean, what are some of the things that your team is looking for in deciding, who has the it factor, so to speak, to be accepted into your program?
Yeah, so I mean, once you go onto the application, you're going to go through, we call it our quiz assessment to kind of understand where you are in the business. And for us, what's really, really important is that you are an entrepreneur who's coachable. You have a business that has potential, potential to scale, potential to do good in the world. We look at the triple P bottom line: people, planet, profit. Are you hitting those things, right? That's very important to us. Again, going back to our founder, we want to create businesses for good. We want to make sure that we are supporting entrepreneurs who are ready and willing to make their business a force for good. So we are looking for a good business model. We are looking for a business that could potentially attract investors, because that will help you to grow your business. It will help you to move forward. We're looking for innovative businesses, right? And we are looking for entrepreneurs who we know we have more faith in once we do that interview with you, that you're going to stick through this program with us. You're going to come with a beginner's mindset, and you're going to take advantage of this opportunity in the best possible way. So it's not just you have a business that's doing well. There are all of these factors. And again, I reiterate the triple P bottom line.
All right, awesome. So I know that that is geared towards, persons who have that resilience, as you mentioned, they're budding entrepreneurs. But what would you say to persons who want to become entrepreneurs, not yet at that stage yet? They might have the burgeoning of an idea, and they want to, but perhaps there is some fear or some hesitancy there. What would you say to persons who want to take that leap, but they may feel that, okay, maybe their idea is not good enough, or they feel that the market may be saturated with entrepreneurs? Because I know that's also a real fear as well. What would you say to those persons?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I don't believe in this whole the market is saturated. There's, if you are somebody who believes in abundance, which I do, then you have nothing to worry about. Because somebody who comes to your business who's offering the same thing is not going to go to another person for different reasons. Your clients are your clients, and what your business stands for is going to allow you to be very different. Whether you're somebody who's creating a business that's going to have multiple team members, you're taking something that you love and you do, and you're a personal brand, it's going to be very different. So don't stop thinking about the competition. Put on your blinders. Focus on whether you are creating value. And that to me is the biggest thing. Do you know within yourself that this idea that you have can serve? Can you serve others with it? Is it going to support somebody? And when I say serve, it doesn't mean that you're not going to serve yourself. As I said before, create value for yourself and others. And to me, that's a big thing. And if you already have reached to that point, so you're asking me those who are thinking, who have an idea, if you reach to that point, go back and look at, am I taking my strengths? Am I using them in a way that's going to serve me? And am I creating value? And that's all it is. Because once you're able to create value, that's all a business is, an exchange. Somebody's exchanging money because you've created value for them. So stop chasing just the money. The money will come. Look at creating value. Once you do that, you have a business idea. And the other piece of advice I would say is start. There's nothing, never a better time than now. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have to learn from those mistakes. And if you are willing to do that, then just start, because it's the mindset that's stopping you. It's the saboteurs that's stopping you. And so you definitely, as I said, everybody needs mindset work, no matter what, because your saboteurs are there to stop you, to tell you you are not good enough. This business idea has been done by 100 people. So therefore, there's no space for you. That is your negative mindset. And so doing the mindset work is going to shift you into that place where you can say, but you know what? I can take this idea and I can be a little bit more creative. And here's how I'm going to offer it in a different way, in a different spin. And I'm going to put myself in this. So again, mindset work, and just do it. Start.
Awesome. I love that you make it sound so simple. And I think in actuality it is. But I think a lot of persons just see it as this, lofty ideal or this lofty goal that is unattainable for a lot of persons. But as you said, it really is very simple, because as you said, it starts with creating value for yourself, but also for persons out there. So basically, as you said, you believe in abundance. The pie is big enough, there's a slice for everybody there. I'm going to take the opportunity to remind our audience that if you do have any questions, you can drop them in the chat. But I think, Lorian, you have been doing such a fantastic job of just, putting everything on the table and just sharing your knowledge. Um, So I know we don't have any questions at this time. Again, I will invite persons to ask any questions. Do want to take the opportunity to definitely thank you for your time. I love the fact that you, as I said, you broke it down. You made it so sound so simple. In terms of the fact that entrepreneurship really does start with you. It starts with cultivating that mental fitness, as you said, which I think, when we think about COVID, it's one of those things that really pushed mental health to the front. It was always there as this buzzword, but I think with the burnout and just this dissonance that a lot of person experienced during COVID, it really brought that to the forefront about just how important that mental fitness and that mental fortitude is. And I can see how that ties in with your career path also as a certified wellness coach, because it does make sense, right? You have to start with you first to be able to have that matriculate into a successful business. So um, definitely want to thank you for your time. Definitely a very interesting conversation. I can say that I learned a lot today, and definitely some things that I will take from today to move forward. Thank you to everyone who joined online. I hope you were as blessed with knowledge as I am. Have a good evening, and definitely look out for another series on disruption. Have a good evening, everyone, and thank you, Lorian. Take care.
Thank you. Bye,
All
everyone.
right. Bye, everyone. Take care.